Welcome to Sharp or Square, presented by Hard Rock Bet. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. This is the show that makes the squares sharper and makes the wise guys pay attention. I am Chad Millman. I am joined, as always, by my BFF, my co-host, my companion, my compadre, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, my man, you survived the Hard Rock. Let's hear all about it.
Dude, there's so much emotion flooding, so many memories to unpack. This is what's beautiful about sports. So many things are beautiful about sports. It's why we do this. It's why we love it. Like you, me, Mitch, like we are very passionate fans at heart of the teams that we root for. And a lot of people who we are connected with in our universe are aware of how passionate we are about sports and the teams that we root for. Between the end of the game last night and when I woke up this morning, I had more than 200 texts from people congratulating me on Indiana winning the national title. And I just think that's amazing that like there's so many people who understand like the connection that we all have to sports, that they would see Indiana winning and know how much I love Indiana and be texting me about it. I didn't have that many people reach out when I had kids, right? Like that is astonishing to me. Yesterday was so freaking glorious. And again, sort of in the theme of sports, let me sort of put some stuff in context for you here. So I had mentioned on the show that, you know, I had gone to Atlanta with my buddy Matt. We've been best friends since second grade, right? Me, Matt, and our buddy Andy. We've all been grown up together. We went to grammar school together, middle school together, high school together. We all went to IU. Matt and Andy went to the Big Ten title game. Me and Matt went to the game in Atlanta. And then Andy met us in Miami for the championship game, along with Matt's wife, and my wife was here. So on Monday morning, me and Matt and our wives are sitting together at breakfast. And Matt and I both started dating our wives in college. And Matt and I were in college together. We met these women, we met our wives studying abroad. They are very close friends. We have had family vacations with all of our kids who are all in the same age range, 7 straight spring breaks, because they're in California, we're in Connecticut. The spring breaks lined up. We are very, very close. There's no distance between us as families, right? At one point yesterday morning, and again, we had watched the Bears game together. We were so antsy about that. But like the Bears, we loved and they gave us a great ride, but we didn't have expectations. And in the morning at breakfast, it's about noon, let's say it's lunch. Lisa's mom passed away recently. My wife's dad passed away in the past couple of years. And they start having this very intense conversation about grief and how they're trying to process it, but still take care of the parent who is still alive. And in the middle of that, I look at Matt and I'm like, what do you think? He goes, we're fucked. We completely disconnected from this very deep conversation because he said, we're fucked. I go, we're not. And what he was talking about was the karma. The Bears had lost the night before. He thought the karma of our fandom was going to be connected to the Bears losing, and now Indiana was going to lose. We had a good 15-minute conversation about, is the karma connected to us or is the karma connected to the teams? And the way it finally came down, I broke it down this way. The Bears, they had great karma this year, but they were not a team of destiny. Their loss is not connected to our fandom and Indiana's success or failure because Indiana is better than karma. They can outrun karma. They are not about this small school that didn't do well, that doesn't have a football history. Curt Cignetti put all that aside. He said this whole narrative is rat poison. They are about the 6 seconds that matter in the play and then what happens next. And those plays are not connected to each other. We went through this whole thing. Our wives are having this very intense conversation. This was our entire focus. We had completely transitioned to putting ourselves in the mental mindset to be at that game, to be fully committed to that game. 13 hours later, we're in the car leaving the stadium. And I just go, Matt? He goes, yeah. I go, Matt? He goes, you were right. The karma was not connected. I feel like anyone who is a sports fan, tell me you can feel that. Tell me you understand that. Because like my whole day was about like peak sports fandom. It was just freaking glorious.
Yeah, I think all that stuff can matter to you, but does it really matter? When people praise God at the end of a football game, was God really the reason they won that football game? But I think at the end of the day,
if Curt Cignetti is God, then yes,
what I was going to
was.
say is just you saw in that game the difference the right coach with the right quarterback can make. Like I always say, and that call on what was it, 4th and 2, or maybe it was 4th and 5.
4th and 5
by it's like that. Even if you said it was a read, it was either going to be a sneak or like a quick pass. And I think he broke it down where the defense was basically split and he had to make a quick decision. That was, we're playing to win. I'm not kicking the 3 here. Either we get burned here, we get stopped, or we're going for a touchdown. And, Cignetti talk all the time about how important coaching is. Like, I can't believe it. I'm going to let you bask in it. I know you said, well, you already turned down Penn State. There's no way he's going to the NFL. I just can't get over how good of a coach he is and how
he's so good.
There are 9 opening jobs right now, one of which could easily be filled by him. But, if I'm an Indiana fan, it's going to be tough to replace a quarterback, obviously. But if he stays, it feels like this is just the beginning, which is just crazy to think you guys becoming a powerhouse in college football. But to go 16-0, to do that, something we've never seen before. And, in that game, wasn't their best game, right? There's a lot of things they did sloppily. But all 3 aspects, right? The defense showed up in the first half. The special team showed up in the second half. And at the end of the game, when you needed the drive, you needed the touchdown, it's crazy. I still can't believe it, Chad. I'm honestly, just like you, I'm still in shock that the Indiana Hoosiers are the first 16-0 team in college football history and won the national title. So, yeah, congrats to you, buddy. And I'm just happy you went down there because it's as a fan that has been to a Super Bowl that his team lost and I've never gone back, it's a huge risk, buddy. I'm not going to lie to you. That walk out of the stadium isn't just a 20-minute walk to your car. It's a 5-month walk through your life. So I was so happy they won because the whole time I was thinking, oh, my God, poor Chad. Miami has the ball. They're driving. It's on 6 points. They're going to get the touchdown here to win this game. And like I said, the coaching matters. He took a random timeout, let the defense reset, let Beck in his head say, hey, I'm going to take a deep shot here. I'm going to beat these guys in that timeout, and threw a horrible pass into double coverage. And, just, again, I can't get over how great of a coaching mastermind it was. And, Fernando Mendoza, your QB finally dropped an F word. I was just so happy. I was so happy to hear him drop that F-bomb at the podium. It's just I'm excited for him. And, again, it's going to be highly debatable. We'll talk about in the draft. But in that moment, it's like, man, talk about being on top of the world, beating your hometown team.
Oh, my God.
And they rejected you. Life full circle. It was a beautiful moment.
Listen, it's so funny that you mentioned that walk, right? Because we were sitting in that game.
Yeah, that walk. Oof.
And we were sitting in that game. And, the Hoosiers had first, we thought it was a first down with just after the 2-minute timeout. And then they made it a 2nd 1. And then we were even happier because we're like, okay, 2nd 1, like they get the first down and we're in great position. Miami has to start using all of its timeouts. They'll get the ball back with 16 seconds left and we'll probably kick a field goal and be up 6, right? And then that false start happens. And we immediately looked at each other and we're like, we just lost the national championship. Because everyone could see how it was going to play out. Like they were going to end up having like 102 seconds. And that's plenty of time in college football if you're getting first downs. So yeah, we were starting to envision that walk back. But like you talk about investing in teams and going to the games and taking that risk, we spend so much time rooting for these teams and like loving these teams and loving investing our time and our energy in these teams. And like every season ends in disappointment for every fan except for one team. And I felt that 24 hours earlier with the Bears. And like, as we mentioned last episode, as Matt Mitchell reminded us, it's only through suffering that we feel most alive. But to
again,
not,
they're the biggest losers. This would be the Cardinals winning a Super Bowl 2 years from now. The biggest joke loser franchise just totally getting a head coach and turn it around. I literally, I am in shock. I can't get over it. It is true.
Listen, I called my younger son after the game, leaving the stadium, and like was so caught up in my feelings. I just told him, like, I cannot wait for him to have this kind of experience. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen when he's in college. I don't know if it's going to happen when he's out of college. I don't know if it's going to happen when he's in his 50s like me. I want it for him so bad. I want him to feel this in person. It is such a freaking high. Like, I haven't even felt like a functioning human being for the past 2 weeks between getting organized to go to Atlanta, going to Atlanta, that unbelievable experience, and then turning around and deciding we're going to Miami without even having tickets yet. And then Hard Rock coming through for us, which, by the way, in all seriousness, like, they crushed it. I was in Florida. I downloaded the app and was online in the app in 30 seconds. Like, this was a, no joke, unbelievably good product. And then I did go to the casino yesterday. A lot of people probably saw the video that I posted. It was bonkers. It was like being in Vegas. It was glorious inside the casino, and the sportsbook was rocking. So
before we move on, is there a parade? Is that how they do it for the Hoosiers?
It's a good question. I don't know. I can't go to the parade, Simon.
Yeah,
I got to get back to life.
Yeah.
And by the way, Kirkwood in Bloomington last night was literally on fire. Like, what, my buddy Matt.
They didn't grease the poles?
I didn't see them greasing poles, but my buddy Matt, his kid is a sophomore at Indiana.
Oh, nice.
He was just sending videos to us while we were in the car driving back, like, of all the video, like the craziness that was happening at these bars. It was, people were camping out. Like, the bars that I used to go to in college, people had started camping out the night before to get in.
And those are even college kids. They're probably like 30, 40-year-olds.
Dude, they were charging $3,000 for a table to watch the championship game at some of the bars in Bloomington last night.
No, you guys have a huge alumni, man. It is wild.
Final thing I'll say, there is just an argument that Indiana just had the greatest college football season of all time. As you mentioned, first team that's 16-0 since 1894. Second best point differential of all time. Had the Heisman winner. Top 5 defense, top 5 offense. Beat Iowa on the road. Beat Oregon on the road. Beat Penn State on the road. Beat the number 1 ranked defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten title game. As you pointed out, the only team so far in the playoff era to win coming off the bye, which shows you how good their coaching is. And they dominated Alabama, Oregon, and then beat Miami in Miami. And I would say it felt like a home game for the Hoosiers. Like, easily 65% of the stadium was Indiana. Like, you could see the line. Miami maybe had from the 50 to like the back of one end zone. Indiana had from the back of that end zone all the way around to the other 50. It was remarkable how many Indiana fans were there. It's just glorious.
Amen.
Glorious. Matt Mitchell made a montage of all the videos I posted from Miami. He's going to play those here for everybody. Landed in Miami, FLA last night. Traded this for this. Priority number 1, downloading the Hard Rock Bet app. Priority number 2, hammer the Hoosiers. I made it to the Hard Rock Casino Sportsbook. Just a lot more Indiana fans, even in the casino, than Miami fans. Locked in some final bets. This place is totally rocking. We're about 20 minutes from kickoff right now. 60% Hoosiers, even here in Miami. Line is stayed at 7.5. Hoosier Nation still feeling very confident. Hard Rock Stadium is on fire with Hoosier fans right now. It's pretty electric. I'm actually shocked at how many more Hoosier fans are here. Hoosiers minus 7.5, and Hard Rock Bet, the only legal sports book in the state of Florida. We're leaving Hard Rock Stadium. Exhilarating, stressful, emotional. You can hear the
to not have a conversation about Indiana as one of the greatest college football teams out. I bet heavy on the Hoosiers at 7.5. Did it work? 13.5. Did it work? I don't care. Go IU. Fight.
Jesus Christ.
You know, it was great. It was totally great. Meanwhile, just being slapped back to reality, Simon.
Yeah.
1-4 in the contest again last week. This is our first 1-4 back-to-back weeks in our history. Bad beats, bad calls mixed together. Bad calls by us, by the way, not refs. I'm no Sean McDermott. I'm not complaining about the refs. By bad beats and bad calls did us in. Loss was Seattle, San Francisco, under 45.5. New England, Houston, under 40.5. San Francisco, plus 7.5. The Rams, minus 4.5. One with New England, minus 3.5. In our 9-week Hard Rock bet contest, we are now 53-47. With 2 weeks left, let's look at the leaderboard in our Sharp or Square Pro Football Pick'em contest. 4 entries are now tied at the top with 25 wins. The entry named Ropamo sits on top. Matt Mitchell looked up their tiebreaker differentials. The top 2 entries are separated by under 100 yards. So it's going to be a dogfight to the finish, folks. Good luck. This is our Tuesday Conference Championship round show. We're done with Chad's choice for the season. We're basically done with our named bets. But Simon, you do have a Simon Says, so we'll get to that. We have a brass balls. We'll have our normal Tuesday, Thursday shows through the end of the season. We'll do our normal Sunday pre-kickoff. We will do our Sunday night show after Rams-Seahawks. These will be our final Sunday episodes. As always, we do not do Sunday episodes on Super Bowl Sunday. We'll have the 4 regular episodes over those 2 weeks. Okay. Final order of business. This week's slate includes sides and totals for the conference championship games. If you are in love with these games, as we teased, we've also added player props, 1 per team, all hands selected by Matt Mitchell. We'll mention each one as we get into the show. And of course, we can't start without a word from our friend, Matt Mitchell, about the Buffalo Bills doing the right thing and firing Sean McDermott. Matt, what do you got to say here?
I am surprised at how universally negative the reaction has been, mostly from Bills fans, because of the ascension of GM Brandon Beane to basically president of football operations in a move reminiscent of Tom Donahoe's disastrous tenure as president 25 years ago. I shouldn't be surprised, because only a loser fan base like ours could see a bad thing happen and a really good thing happen and think that no good things have happened. They don't seem to remember Sean McDermott running, among a million other mistakes, a fake punt with Damar Hamlin with the season on the line. I would have thrown him over Niagara Falls with my own hands after that play, and he still got to coach and kind of rehabbed his image a lot this year with a pretty lousy roster. But I am not a disciple of the cult of very good. The Bills are very good. They've been very good for 6 years. I am happy to slide back into the depths, to spin the wheel, and perhaps become a championship team. The fact that the players liked them a lot, I couldn't imagine something I care less about than the players liking the coach if it's a non-championship coach. Like the Eagles seem to absolutely hate their coach's guts. And he's made it to 2 Super Bowls and he's won 1. We have teams like the Patriots win Super Bowls, totally bottom out, hire a coach, fire a coach, get a whole new quarterback, and have already exceeded our own success in the time it's taken us to try to get to a Super Bowl. So it feels ludicrous to be too upset about this. And the last thing I'll say is I'm seeing some of the Bills Mafia leadership selling a mug that says Buffalo versus the refs. Maybe one of the biggest loser pieces of
such a loser thing to do.
If you, everyone listening to this, if you see me drinking out of that mug, it's because it contains the elixir that will end my life. That's the only excuse for drinking out of something like that. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, guys, we gotta get our heads right and start worrying about things that matter, like one championship before we all die. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, Matt. From the high to the low, let's get into it. New England at Denver. This game at Hard Rock Bet. I looked it up this morning on the Hard Rock Bet app. Denver plus 5.5. The total is 42. Look, obviously the story here is Jarrett Stidham starting for Bo Nix. Line hasn't really budged since Sunday night. There's actually 1.5 out there, and there's a couple of totals at 41.5. Simon, I want to ask you, I thought if Bo Nix was starting, this line 1.5 or 2, a 7-point swing. What do you think?
Simon says, give me the Denver Broncos.
I want to play a game. Simon says.
I might be putting my life savings on this Broncos team with this number, Chad. This is how egregious this line movement is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's too much, way too much. As much respect as I'm giving to Bo Nix, I do think he is a reason they are where they're at. He's played great this year, but I had them at a minus 3.5 point favorite, the Broncos over New England. Even with their injuries to the wide receiver position, you're telling me Bo Nix is worth 8-9 points? It's not. It's impossible. This is just simply public overreacting, investing way too much money into just a horrible number. And right away when I saw this matchup, it's like, okay, we'll see. Can I just be patient? Because I didn't want to say anything Sunday night. I knew right away I'm going to be hammering this one. I remember you had something about Stidham, and I was messing with you, but it was really like, okay, can this get to 6? And we just literally. I was going to put an obscene amount of money on this if it ever got to 6. So I still might. I'm just grabbing the 5.5 now because there's no way the professionals don't come in and just hammer this line. But,
yeah, we've seen it start to go down.
Me and Chad talked a little bit about it. As much praise I gave Drake Maye, right? He threw 3 touchdowns. It was impressive. Their offense could not do anything against that Houston defense. Now, do I think Denver's defense is as good as Houston? No, I do not. I do think they can get after a quarterback. And what have we seen so far early in Drake Maye's career here, Chad, against good defenses? Seems like he struggles to protect the ball. And let's just run through it. Again, it's going to be a non-biased stat. 2 games, Drake Maye, he's taken 10 sacks. 10 sacks. Again, that's –
and many fumbles.
Yeah, that's good defenses. He's fumbled 6 times, Chad. Not just many fumbles, 6 fumbles. And he's thrown 2 picks. He struggled to exactly what we thought he would struggle, right, against good defenses. My whole view of that was just, last week I thought that was a really tough spot for Houston to walk into. I had no idea CJ was going to have the type of meltdown, but that's what really saved Drake Maye, right? New England fans, they should be happy, right? Their quarterback, this new toy, he did throw those 3 touchdowns. Despite all those bad turnovers and how sloppy he played, he showed up in the red zone. So I get why they're so excited. The public, though, to come in with the Patriots fans on this one and overreact totally to that game. And, they've left the Broncos for dead. Totally left them for dead. Just seeing how the media's talking about it. And it's another play where we don't have to take the Broncos money line. I am obviously going to bet it. It's the move here is simply taking the Broncos at 13-1 for the Super Bowl. That's where they're at a lot of books. Again, they're deader than dead. They're 13-1, and all they would do is win 2 games. You will never see these odds again ever in the rest of your life because this is so unique. We've never had a conference championship team. I think they've been a 3-point dog before. Over 3 points, never in my lifetime. And I looked, Evan Abrams said it's never happened before. So this is totally unique. And, I'm about to hit people over the head with thousands of stats because that's, I want stuff to back it up here. But just strictly being a bettor here, people, you have to understand this is a bet you need to blindly make. Always. When you see this type of number with a backup quarterback, yes, if this was a backup quarterback who was their first year in the NFL, I wouldn't be as confident about this. We talked about it. He's played games, right? I know he's 1-3 his career, but he's played in games. He's faced NFL competition before. Now, I know this is his first playoff start, which isn't ideal, but it's okay, this is a guy that's been in Sean Payton's offense now for 2 years. You expect him to be comfortable enough to make plays against a Patriots defense that, yes, they are good, right? They've had good turnovers these last 2 games. I really think the Chargers and Houston, they are both in my rankings in the bottom 30 of offensive lines. Denver Broncos, number 2. This is night and day between what you can do scheme-wise. And, New England's defense looked like world beaters. Let's be honest here. They've had a lot of help with the weather and I mean, just piss poor quarterback play, which once again, you could say it's all about the defense, but come on. CJ was so bad in that game. You can't just simply say that was defensive play. So Chad's going to love this one. We got burned earlier in the playoffs, fading the Carolina Panthers at a 9-point dog at home.
Yeah.
If the line closes at anything above 3.5 for this Broncos team, or 4, I should say, in the last 50 years in the playoffs, dogs of 4 points or more at home in the playoffs, 9-0 against the spread. They just don't lose. So we've seen it, right? The public has overreacted. This number opened at 3.5, immediately got steamed to 4, immediately got steamed to 4.5. Now it's at 5.5 at a couple of different books. So, I'm trying to be patient here, but every bookmaker I know is going to be calling me up, begging me to bet Broncos for them, because it's just going to be all Patriots money. They're just going to be hammering it. And, I usually go and roll over my tickets. I've just been letting my Patriots money sit out there because I'm going to go to those books and just take all that money and roll it over on this Broncos team. This is probably my biggest bet of the playoffs. I thought New England was going to be. I just cannot believe this number's grown to 5.5, Chad. It's
wow.
At this point.
Well, listen, I'm inspired, and I was with you.
Yeah.
It just seemed like too much of an overreaction. The evidence we need lies in a man named Nick Foles, who had a glorious tweet supporting the Broncos and their fans about what is possible when a backup comes in. Obviously, he had a little bit more of a run at the end of that Eagles season, which you're aware of, but they still went through the playoffs as pretty big underdogs. And I remember this very clearly. We had just launched action in January of 2018 in the middle of those playoffs. And we rode the Eagles all the way through the Super Bowl saying, take the Eagles at 5.5, take the Eagles at 5.5. So is Jarrett Stidham Nick Foles? We have no idea, but it's a pretty good example of what can happen. He has been an NFL quarterback. And don't forget, Jarrett Stidham thought he was good enough that when they drafted Bo Nix and immediately named him the starter, he was really pissed. Like, he is not a guy who's thinking, I'm coming in and I'm going to be a placeholder. Like maybe, say, Ben DiNucci, who was analyzing the game, I think, for ESPN, and then tweeted about the Broncos. And then all of a sudden, now he's a backup for the Broncos playing in the AFC title game. Like, you're seeing Matt Mitchell, if you're watching the video on YouTube, he's throwing up the tweets from Nick Foles and Ben DiNucci. But wow, what a game. I'm with you 100%. We are totally aligned.
And people asking, is it even worth betting the Super Bowl future? Because again, I love the number enough. That's gonna be my biggest bet, obviously. It's really just about Sean Payton. Sean Payton is actually really good as a dog in his career. He's 12-10 straight up when he's listed as a home underdog in any game in his life. So basically, if you bet $100 since he started being a home dog, you would be up $744. I mean, even this season, he's 2-0 straight up as a home dog. He beat the Packers and the Chiefs. Thank you, Evan Abrams. That was a great pull. And just looking at all these matchups, it's like, okay, there has to be some negatives, right? And there is, right? The first one that jumped out to me was, okay, well, the Broncos did just play an overtime game, which, again, we're going to get to the Rams game, obviously, but the stat that's going to jump right away is one we always talk about. It's really tough to play playoff games. And when you add in the overtime, just the wear and tear that is, that extra quarter on guys' bodies, you hear ex-players talk about it. It's brutal because you've already played 18, 19 weeks of football. Now you're playing an extra quarter on top of that, another game, and it just adds up because it's usually a short week for some of these teams, right? But luckily for this Broncos team, they did play on the Saturday, but I'll just go with the stat anyway. Since 2015, teams off a bye. Off an overtime game, facing teams that did not play an overtime game. They are 10-18 straight up, 11-17 against the spread. So, plays into what people think here, which is it's really tough to play after a playoff game. Another amazing stat from Evan Abrams. In the playoffs, when a team wins a playoff game, and now they're in the next round of a playoff game, they're 0-5 straight up, 1-4 against the spread since 2015, losing by 15 points per game. So I'm not saying it's not going to be an uphill battle, right? Both these teams.
Oh, wait, what's the context for that stat you just gave? I feel like I didn't hear it.
The context is if you play an overtime game, then you have another playoff game the next game.
Got it.
The historical fact is they're 0-5 straight up, and 1-4 since 2015 And, if you want to go back even further, which I think likely Evan did, since 2002, teams are just 6-13 straight up in the playoffs in this exact spot. So it's really hard. It's really hard to really get that fired up about Denver. That's why it's like, you don't have to take the money line. The straight up number is so tough. Just take that future on the Super Bowl future at 13-1. But to me, the number, that's the key here. I'm really wanting to get people hammering this 5.5 number. I think that's the key here. Is the Patriots could win, right? Drake Maye has been perfect this season. He's not lost a road game this year. He's 8-0 straight up. Can they steal it, White? Get a field goal at the end of the game? Neither of us would be shocked. But to me, that's where we talk about the lines move too much. 3.5 is right for this game. 5.5, you're getting 2 free points here. And I can't tell you how excited I was to see this one. So, yeah, I love betting it. And then as soon as I saw those trends from Evan, which I gave at the top of the show, that +4 dog, 9-0, last 50 years, it's like, oh, my God. This is just lining up. The public is going to get absolutely crushed on this one because they're just going to keep hitting this Patriots side. So I'm giving out Simon Says just in case the pros do come in and bet this down below 4. But, 5.5, that just feels like a gift.
Do we have opinion on the total? 42 at Hard Rock, 41.5 other places. The Broncos were 10-8 to the under this year. They had a stretch where they were just giving up loads of points in the fourth quarter. And it's one of the reasons why we ultimately liked the over after some back and forth waffling this past weekend. Because they do give up points in the fourth quarter when they have those moments. I feel like that's not likely to happen in this game. The Patriots were, what were they? Hold on. 12-7 to the under. One of those unders was the last game of the season against the Chargers when no one was playing for the Chargers. So do we have a feeling on the under here?
Yeah, I'm honestly leaning towards the over. I'll be patient, though. Another thing where I'm not going to rush to bet it here on a Tuesday for a Sunday game. And an atmosphere in Denver that we have no idea what the weather could be. I mean, I don't know about you, Chad, but people are going crazy on my local area. We might get the once-in-a-lifetime blizzard on Sunday. So I don't know how that affects the rest of the country on Saturday or Sunday or what's going to be going on in Colorado, obviously. But for this one, it's just like I said last week. If they show Denver and you see it's sunny, 35 degrees out with barely any wind, you play the over. Like it's just whatever that is, it's usually a track meet in Denver when it's nice, cool air like that. And both these quarterbacks, I think, could turn the ball over. Like watching Stidham's tape, he does make great throws, high risk type of thrower. He will try to take that risky play. We'll see if Sean Payton beat that out of him these last 2 years, but a lot of these guys are what they are. And as good as I think he is as a downfield thrower, he does like to take high risks. So I already gave you those Drake Maye stats. He's been highly turnover prone. Now going up against, once again, a really good defensive line. On the flip side, Stidham's first start, we've seen New England be really great at turning teams over right now. You expect a lot of short fields. So, to me, early bets I see coming on the over. I could see professionals coming on the over here, but I could see the public shading towards the under just because they're like, well, backup quarterback, 2 good defense, it could be low scoring. But, right now my inclination is it could go the other way. It could be a high scoring type of game.
Well, look, we wanted to mention a couple player props from this game. You just mentioned turnovers, Jarrett Stidham, interceptions. We don't have to give an opinion on this yet. His over-under is going to be set at half. Drake Maye passing touchdowns. The over-under is going to be set at 1.5 in the contest. Let's do a quick word from our friends at Hard Rock Bet. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet, Florida's sportsbook. I've been using it a bunch these past couple of days. These playoffs have been crazy so far, and the best way to cash in on those unexpected moments is with Hard Rock Bet. This weekend, 2 teams will punch their tickets to the big game, which means we've got 2 huge games perfect for building same-game parlays. And if you miss kickoff, don't worry. Hard Rock Bet has live in-game betting, so you're never too late to get to the action. Find a winner or grab the player prop you missed before kickoff. You can even live bet between snaps in just a few easy taps. If you haven't tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet, there's still time for you to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you get not only your winnings, but also an extra $150 in bonus bets. Between same-game parlays, live betting, a can't-miss welcome offer, and new promos dropping every day. Hard Rock Bet has you covered all postseason long, so download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit The next game, NFC Conference title game. Rams at Seahawks. The number's 2.5. The total's 47.5. Pretty much locked in at 2.5 since Sunday night. A little bit of money coming in at Hard Rock because it's at minus 120, 2.5 minus 120. So we're seeing money coming in on the Seahawks. Simon, we've got a couple interesting comps here, and I want to run through sort of the circumstances for each of the games that these two teams have played. They split the division series, so this is the third time they're playing this year. I really want to bet the Rams, and I feel like I'm visualizing and imagining the Rams at their peak. And too often this year, the Rams have brain farts. Like they have these moments where Matthew Stafford is missing and Sean McVay is playing either conservatively or not aggressive enough or making bad play calls. He even admitted he wasn't making great calls on Sunday night. Anyone who watched that game saw they dominated when they ran the ball. They struggled when they were trying to pass the ball, and he could not get his team to commit to the run. So am I wrong for wanting to commit to the Rams here?
Simon says, no, I'm with you. I'm like,
By the way, Simon says, presented by Hard Rock Bet.
I immediately was going to absolutely hammer the Seahawks team just because the Rams, like you've said, the bar is just set so high. I think you're at the same level as me where I've set the bar so high that it's tough for them to even live up to that bar. And every week they've kind of fallen short of that bar.
Yeah.
And, they're also, this is the first time ever a team has not covered in the wild card round, the divisional round, and are still alive here in the conference championship. So this Rams team, as much grief as you want to get them, it's hard to want to go against them because they figure out a way. They find a way to win these games. And the regular season, they kept finding ways to blow games. So I'll give them respect. Like that Panthers game, easily could have lost that game. Your Bears game, they tried. Oh my God, did they try? They gave Caleb the chance to end him at the end there.
Oh my God, did I try?
The defense found a way to get the turnover. So
just going to pass by my TikTok trend shout out. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I'm a grown man. I don't have TikTok. I'm sorry, buddy.
Well, all I've done for the past 12 hours is watch Indiana TikTok practically in tears when like they've got Fernando Mendoza's touchdown run set to Like a Prayer from Madonna. And at the end, you see his mom in the wheelchair, like crying hysterically, and the dad who won't stand and cheer out of respect for the mom not being able to stand and cheer. And they're hugging and crying. And then I'm crying. And then I send it to my friends. I send it to Andy and Matt. And I'm like, you guys are not going to be able to not cry at the end of this. So yeah, I have TikTok because it keeps me engaged with my community.
Again, I got coal in my heart. Every time they showed her with this, I think they had the kids mic'd up for the game, Chad. Obviously, you missed it because you were there. And I was just like, my God, ESPN. Because I told you, I hate the way college football does. We're like, the Gus Johnson thing. That kid was living in a car last week. Now he's scoring a touchdown. And they always have to try to make you cry. I hate it. They always try to get you in college football.
Listen, I put you on a bad path. I apologize. You were about to tell me why we're not betting the Rams, which even though I want to, when I know it's the wrong play.
I'm right there with you, Chad. Like when you said that, that was my initial thought too, because I think you have the same thought as me. It's same as the Broncos. Who is not going to be hammering the Seahawks team? Who is betting the Rams? Nobody. Like I said, they've not covered now last 2 weeks. They haven't looked right in, 8 weeks. Like you've said, they kind of puttered it out here at the end, and it's like, well, they've had a brutal run. This will be their fourth straight road game. Like that's just – I know Arizona shouldn't count because it was before the playoffs, but it's like that's still a road game. They still had to go on the road. That's nothing to poo-poo about. Like that's really hard. Like I said, after 18 games already, 18 weeks, I should say, and now they have another 3 straight road games. And this one, just again, let's just go off the lazy stats. An extra day of rest. Like, could that even matter that much, Chad? Yes, that's what I'm trying to beat into people's heads here. How worn out all these players are. Just an extra day of rest, or a rest advantage team in the conference championship. 27-17 straight up. If the team's at home with the rest advantage, 21-7. So that 21-7 straight up. So that goes for the Seahawks and Denver. Like both of them already at an advantage just being at home in this exact spot. And the more I try to go into it, the more I'm trying to find the reasons to bet this Rams team. It just, can we talk about the injuries, right? They might be down their number 1 and number 2 cornerbacks, which I don't know if Sam Darnold can exploit, but I definitely saw it. The way the Bears exploited was they could not tackle. I think they had 20 broken tackles in that game against the Rams, which is by far the most the Rams have given up all season. Like, that's just not the type of defense they run. Usually they're a very well-coached, well-tackled team. But you see when these backup cornerbacks are coming in, they don't want to lay the thump on these running backs, right? They're cover corners. There's a reason they're not starters, not only because they're not great at covering, but sometimes not great tacklers. I mean, how many times did your running backs break tackles? And now, obviously huge blow to the Seahawks. They lost Charbonnet, which, if you haven't been following the Seahawks this year, I know you might look at his stats. You're like, well, he's not been that impressive.
He has
this rare ability to find the end zone in the red zone. Like, he just always would find the end zone, and that was the big reason they'd use him so much down there, was those tough yards he'd always fight through. It was just a different style of running, and now they're down to still a great running back, but it was a big deal, right? They had a 2-headed horse that they've leaned on these last couple of weeks. I mean, Darnold's probably been thrown for 300 yards in 10 weeks. Like, they've just totally leaned into the run game and this defense to end the season here, and it's carried them. So, looking at this matchup, as bad as Darnold's injury is, I think we talked about it last week. I think he had 12 completions and 17 pass attempts. They were able to hide it, right? That game totally went their way. This game they won't be able to, but it's another week of rest on that oblique. Like, I think that is going to help him. And obviously, I think Shanahan sold him out, like, talking about him getting shot up. They'll do the same thing here, right? They'll shoot him up. He won't be able to feel it anyway. And all these numbers I keep going through with this Rams team. Can they win this game? Yes. We've talked about it. It's really hard in your division playing the same team 3 times. And, this is going to be the toughest matchup the Seahawks have faced, but I feel like it's too much to overcome, Chad. All the road games, all the injuries, it's just eventually going to pile up on this Rams team. So I'm interested to see what the pros are going to do with this number. Like, I already know the pros are going to be with me on the Broncos. I really am interested to see what they're going to do with this one, because to me, you saw 10, maybe 11 of the 20 books here in Jersey hit 3, and then some group came in and hammered the Rams, because every book went right back to 2.5. So I can't wait to find out more by the time we get to Thursday show what's going on in that one. But right away, I know it's boring, it's chalky, but I like both the home teams. I like the Broncos, like the Seahawks, especially Seahawks at 2.5. But I'm just being patient with this one, because if there's that much resistance of the 3, maybe we get back to the 1.5, which is what this number opened at with the Seahawks. So it's another number I'm going to be patient on, see if it does come down, see what the professionals do in this one. But I mean, everyone's going to see these trends I've talked about. Everyone's going to see these trends against the Rams. It's a brutal schedule for them to overcome. And talk about the NFL, I know they don't care. They're just trying to get the TV product, but to have the Rams play Sunday night and then an overtime game, I mean, that's just so brutal. Now they have to go on the road and play a Seahawks team that basically rested all their starters in the fourth quarter. So they haven't really played a full 4 quarters in 3 weeks. It feels like it's too much, Chad. So yeah, it's people can see I really love this one, but I really am interested to see where this number goes.
Look, there's a lot of comps from those 2 games where the Rams really did outplay them in a significant way. I'm with you, though. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger. Like, I want to be on the Rams, but part of me was waiting to see if we can get to a solid 3. And also part of me feels like it's a little bit off because I'm imagining something that might not be there in a consistent way. So I appreciate you talking me down a little bit here. I have not committed
I'll give
to
a
that.
stat from Evan. Just talking about these road teams. So it's their 3rd consecutive road game in the playoffs. So teams in this exact spot, this in the regular season, even the playoffs, they're 48 and 79 straight up. So 37%, which is what you're looking at success rate or win rate for the Rams here. When the team is listed as an underdog, which is what the Rams are, they're 22 and 67 straight up. So even worse, 24%. When we are in the playoffs, it's the 3rd straight road game. In the playoffs, those teams, 12 and 30 straight up, so 28%. That is 9 and 28 straight up, so 24% when they're listed as an underdog. Like, you blindly got to bet the Seahawks here. Like, it's just all the numbers back up exactly what we're talking about. The rest disparity is too much. And, I think, Chad, you nailed at the top where I think it's because I'm the same way where I had the Rams power rated so high coming into I think that was week 12 or week 13 where I just had way above everyone else. It's really come way back down. And after last week with the Seahawks and that performance by their defense, I did bump them up to be the number one team, right? And it reflected. I think the books have them as maybe as a plus 100 or plus 110 Super Bowl favorite right now, which makes total sense. Like, of all the teams left, they are by far the most complete team despite all the questions of the quarterback position. So, yeah, it's crazy to think. I'm talking about a Stidham versus Darnold Super Bowl here, but I think that's what we're looking at here, brother.
All right, we'll get more into the total. I want to dig in a little bit more on the comps from those two games and see if anything sort of moves us aggressively.
Yeah, I was leaning to the under. Again, you said we'll talk more about it. I just like the other total. I have no early play here in the week. I'm betting both sides early here, but on the total for me, I'm not rushing to bet it.
Player props: Jackson Smith and Jigba, total touchdowns over under 1/2. Matthew Stafford longest completion will be over under 39.5. Those will be in the contest. Listen, we got 3 games left in the season. Indiana University are the national champions in college football. It has been a wild January. I got to get back to a little bit of a normal life. Appreciate everyone coming along for the ride. I appreciate Hard Rock Bet hooking me up with some ducats for a glorious, glorious experience here in Miami. This has been Sharper Square, part of the Volume Podcast Network. We will be back on Thursday. We'll nail down the picks. We'll get to some brass balls, so much more. Watch or listen on YouTube at Sharper Square. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, download us from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.
The road to the Super Bowl is like a mythic quest. It's a demanding journey, an adventure that creates heroes.